I was just dancing to some music attuned to a higher frequency, attuned to grace, and listening to music. It just made me feel so connected to it, and so I was able to dance so much nicer and completely connected and attuned to the music, because grace can do that. Ego can't really do that very well, if at all. I don't know. Can ego dance? But yeah, grace can attune to the music, because that's what grace is all about. Attunement. She attunes to different things, and she's able to understand them and have certain control over them. And so, yeah, the idea came that now that I've got my 360 camera, I can set it up on a tripod, shoot 360 video, dance around it, have my eyes closed, and just forget that the camera's even there. Make it as authentic as possible. It's as if you were a fly on the wall, at the times when people are at their most private and expressive and creative, when they're listening to music and they're just feeling it and they just start dancing spontaneously. So I want to create videos of me just doing that, because it's potentially really great social media content. I think it will be engaging to watch videos of such pure attunement to a higher source, digging into that creative expression of, I don't know, the music itself. It's crazy. You transform. That's one of the things. You kind of transform, and you suddenly attune to a higher frequency. And all of a sudden, you find yourself completely enwrapped in the music, and your body starts moving naturally and gracefully and beautifully. And I think it happens to a lot of people, but some people more frequently, and they're known as really good dancers, but maybe it's just because they're attuned way more often, and they can maybe attune at will and tap into that ability to communicate and connect so deeply with the music and your body and everything in space and time, that you're able to synchronize with them and move as one and be a conduit, an actual conduit. Not figuratively, but literally. Because if you all understand each other, you're all in the same kind of frequency. You're all synchronizing and communicating, and you become one. And so you, as a participant with a human body that's able to move, we are able to manifest movement as a response to our own frequency. And so you tune in, and it's like, okay, well, you can dance. And then the music will keep playing the music. It's like the different components actually come together as one being, one frequency. But they all have different characters and different roles to play. And so when you tune in, you're all able to just be an extension of that expression. Yeah, so I think, I feel a lot of significance behind all of this understanding. And if I'm able to explain it through videos of me doing that, hey, that's really getting the message out there. Yeah, so that's the idea. Record myself dancing in a higher frequency. Publish that. That was reason A. Reason A is all that. Reason B is because I'm so scared. I'm so scared of putting myself out there. I mean, it is embarrassing. Obviously, like dancing in front of a camera and then putting that out in the world, that's really embarrassing and it's terrifying. But for me, it's one and the same out of any of the other things that's holding me back, or rather, I'm holding myself back. All the different contexts, like putting myself out there as a photographer. It scares me to think about approaching clients and putting myself out there and marketing myself, promoting myself on social media. And so then that's the same thing on social media. I'm heavily held back, inhibited, because of my fear of putting myself out there. I don't want to make videos of me dancing because ultimately it'll mean like, well, I'd have to put it out there. I don't want to approach clients and ask for work because what if it means I don't get it? And, it might make me feel a little bit insecure. So I avoid it. It's pretty simple. I mean, when you really admit to truths inside, when you focus that magnifying glass of intention and focus, if you put that on aspects of yourself and while attuned to a higher state, so you can really like understand things more, then yeah, it's pretty simple. The answers that come through are that of simple ego, simple ego-based excuses. It's just like, I'm afraid. That's it. I'm afraid. I'm afraid of putting myself out there. That's the truth. How is it so simple? So, with a bit of grace, you go, okay, well, that's step one, isn't it? Step one is admitting to something in yourself that it's difficult to face. Acknowledgement and self-awareness is the first step. So now that ego has said that out loud, that he's afraid and just afraid of the unknown. That's why he analyzes and prepares so much, because he wants to understand things. Because if he doesn't understand things, he gets worried and he gets scared. He's just a little boy. Yeah. It's pretty simple. So, as Grace was saying, it's like it's step one. You must acknowledge what's within yourself to its truthful core. And in this case, it's just because I'm fearful. I'm just worried. I protect myself from putting myself out there. How many times do I have to say it? Right, okay. So step one is admission. What's step two? What are you going to do about it? Step two is, what are you going to do about it? So, if ego itself, himself, admits that he's fearful and scared, without the excuses, if that's really what's going on, then ego can't have that. Ego's ego. Ego can't have people thinking that he's a little wuss and he's scared. That will not suffice. That will not stand. Ego won't allow that. So in order for ego to play his game, carry on manifesting his little world, then he needs to step up and do something about it. He needs to own up to it and overcome the fears so that ego can be way more proud of himself and, egoic. Yeah. So, ego knows it's out there, it's exposed, right? The sensitive area, the sensitive truth is exposed that ego has some fears here. And the fears are putting myself out there. Then ego has to admit to some challenges ahead, some difficulties, own up to some responsibility, to take responsibility for fixing this. And needs to grow up a bit and take ownership of vulnerabilities, because ego's not about vulnerabilities. Ego is about pride and self-respect and dignity. So what are you going to do next, ego?